Hello and welcome. It is I, MrSnake. As always, you're going to be my amazing subject today, even if you do try to resist. Because, I'm really not hypnotizing you. I mean, if you need to adjust for comfort at any point of time during this session, that's perfectly okay, but I'm really not hypnotizing you. I can't stress that enough. I'm not hypnotizing you. And during this session, because I'm not hypnotizing you, you won't need to know that you can come out of trance at any time, able to deal with whatever it is you need to deal with, because again, like I've stressed already, I'm not hypnotizing you. And just to prove it, you can double check. You can, pay attention to your breathing and see if your chest is rising up and down all by itself the way it does. And even if it is, it's really not that important because your mind is still there. You're in full possession of all your faculties. And do know that sometimes during hypnosis, your awareness or your focus can actually increase. You can boost your concentration, or maybe your concentration gets moved around to different body parts or different things you're experiencing. But for now, you're fully aware of what's happening. You're completely conscious, aware, and awake that you're not being hypnotized. And I know that because you've listened to my voice in the past and gone deep into hypnosis, listening to my voice, there may be maybe a form of linking between my voice and going into trance. But if you can just ignore that, you know and understand completely and utterly that you're not being hypnotized. And of course, if I was trying to hypnotize you, I'd be saying phrases like deeply relaxing and relaxing deeply. But I haven't done that. If I was trying to hypnotize you, I'd be pointing out that parts of your body are starting to feel more relaxed than other parts of your body. I'd get you to focus in on those parts that are becoming more relaxed or that are already extremely relaxed. And then I'd tie that into your breathing specifically. But I haven't done that. So you're not being hypnotized. You aren't hypnotized. You're just listening to my voice. And that's good. And of course, even if I did try to slip in some hypnotic language or start suggesting that you drop or sink or fall, you'd be much too clever. You'd be far too good of a subject with such complete agency that you'd never fall for that silliness. You'd never fall for such simple parlor tricks as me telling you to relax, because you're not hypnotized and you're not being hypnotized. Sure, you might relax. You may get really comfy and settle into the surface that you're resting on, whether it's a chair or a bed. You might even feel yourself begin to sink down into it, but you know, in your heart of hearts and in the back of your mind, you know that you're not hypnotized. You're so aware that you're not hypnotized, and you're not going to be hypnotized, because I'm definitely not hypnotizing you. You're hypnosis free. You're not hypnotized. You're not hypnotized. And even if I were trying to hypnotize you or drop you down into a nice relaxing trance, you'd know rather correctly to double check, to pay attention to your body and notice your muscles if there was indeed any relaxation. And you can double check now. You can scan your attention down your legs or your arms or your back or your chest, abdomen, all of your torso. I mean, your eyes probably haven't closed, but if they have, that's okay. It just shows you're completely confident, supremely aware of the fact that you're not hypnotized and you're not being hypnotized. You're not being hypnotized. Because let's face it, if you weren't really and truly hypnotized, you'd be doing everything I say, following every little suggestion that I make, and noticing how you're following my suggestions so easily, so effortlessly, and without thought, question, or indeed hesitation. But you aren't. because you're not hypnotized and you're not being hypnotized and you're not being hypnotized. I am absolutely, definitely, 100% not hypnotizing you. You're just listening to my voice. That's all. We're just having a little one-way conversation where I talk and you're listening so intently, so deeply. And it feels good to listen intently and deeply. And the more deep you listen, the more you'll become aware that you're really not hypnotized. You can be confident in the fact that you're not hypnotized and you're not being hypnotized. You're just listening to my voice deeply and intently, deeply, and you're enjoying the experience. Probably because you're not being hypnotized and you're not hypnotized, are you? That's right. You're not hypnotized. You're not being put in trance. There's no covert language. There's nothing untoward happening here. Just me and you having a friendly little one-way conversation where only I get to speak and you get to listen. Which means that there's no right or wrong way for you to enjoy this conversation. It's whether you're increasingly relaxing because you know you're not being hypnotized, or you're relaxing more deeply and more intently just because you're so confident and secure. You can just listen to my voice and nothing happens. It's just a familiar voice that normally puts you in trance, just talking to you, just enjoying this one-sided conversation where I control what's being said and what's being heard and what's being felt. And you're completely in charge of how you're listening, how you're interpreting. That's entirely down to you. And it might be the case that normally, because you enjoy hypnosis with me so much, that you might actually want to be hypnotized. And I don't know if that's the case or not. Maybe it is. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. That's perfectly fine and acceptable if you want to go into trance. But you're definitely not being hypnotized by me or being put into a deep state of trance and relaxing yourself down deeper and further into it. That's not happening. You're not being hypnotized. You're not hypnotized. You're just relaxing as you listen to the sound of my voice. And I'm glad that you're relaxing to the sound of my voice. I'm glad that my voice has this effect on you. It's just a friendly voice in your ears and in your mind, and that's just a perfect way to be, isn't it? And isn't it delightful to know that you can just enjoy this conversation with me? You can just let your mind drift and float, knowing you're safe and secure. But don't let it drift and float too much, because if you do that, then that might be an indicator that you're starting to enter into trance and you're not being hypnotized, so you don't have to. Even if you're really deeply relaxed and relaxed deeply, it doesn't matter. Just enjoy the conversation, knowing that you're not being hypnotized. And I don't know if it's the same for you, but have you ever find yourself in a conversation where one person's doing all of the talking and you're listening, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, your mind started to wander and drift, almost like it's going into like a daydream form of state, where you're not really paying attention to the words. And maybe you're picking them up subconsciously, but you're definitely not paying direct, conscious attention to the words because your mind, like I said, has wandered off. It's just taking a little break, a little vacation, and that's perfectly okay. It's just natural during a one sided long conversation that should happen. Your mind drifting and floating away for a little bit. It's just the way things happen sometimes. You're definitely not being hypnotized. It's just a natural way the mind works. Sometimes during one sided long conversations where you're listening to my voice. And that's okay. In fact, that's better than okay. Of course, it could be that I've made a slight error in my thinking and my judgment, or maybe I've miscommunicated to you that because you already enjoy hypnosis with me so much and you attach hypnosis to my voice, even though I'm not hypnotizing you, that you could just, no, don't think about that. Don't think about being hypnotized. Don't think about how you normally listen to my voice and drop and sink and fall and go deeper. I shouldn't even have said that, really, should I? Because telling you not to imagine it or not to think of it requires that you have to think of it, which flies in the face of Curie's law of reversed effort, where the conscious mind and the imagination, when they come into conflict, the imagination will invariably win. You know, much in the same way as someone says, don't think of a pink elephant. Well, in order to not think of it, you have to think of it in the first place. And I didn't think of that, and you didn't think of that, and maybe your mind's not really thinking too much at all right now. Maybe your mind did go and wander and float and drift away and let your unconscious mind come more to the surface, which means that there is a very good possibility, in fact, a high likelihood that you are, in fact, actually hypnotized. And that was silly of me, wasn't it? Turns out that maybe you were being hypnotized all along. Turns out that you are hypnotized right now. I'm probably going even deeper because I keep talking about hypnosis, and I also forgot that the unconscious mind's not very good with negatives. And so me saying you're not hypnotized means that, oh no, it means that you are hypnotized. Me saying that you weren't being hypnotized meant that you were being hypnotized all along. And now that you think about it or don't think about it, it's so weird and strange how the mind works. It's so easily manipulated and hacked. How little things can just fool it into a state of submission and trance. But I guess that's part of the fun of it all, isn't it? Knowing that you weren't being hypnotized and all the time you were. Maybe that actually appeals to you. Maybe you enjoy hypnosis so much that me enjoying this little bit of covert play just was completely obvious to you all along, and you actually enjoy the entire process. As it turns out, you were being hypnotized all along. That you are hypnotized. That you relaxed completely and utterly. And that also got me thinking that if you are hypnotized right now, if you have gone deep and dropped deep, 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 then that means you really do love hypnosis. You really do love that feeling of being dragged down deeper and further into trance. Your limbs and your muscles becoming loose and limp and relaxed. Maybe you were noticing all along how kind of hypnotic it felt. How it felt so wonderfully relaxing and compelling to be in trance as you listen to my voice. As it turns out, you were hypnotized, and that you are hypnotized. and you're enjoying it so, so deeply. And that makes it even more funny because it's almost like without knowing what you really wanted and without knowing what you were listening to the file for, I actually did kind of know what you listened to the file for. And I do know what it is you enjoy about hypnosis. And it's almost like I was fully aware of what was happening the entire time. And so, how does it feel to be so deeply hypnotized? Does it feel good to drop and sink and fall so, so deeply? Was it pleasurable to just go with the flow? To just let everything happen all by itself? I bet it did. Knowing that you were being hypnotized so deeply and deeply hypnotized. Knowing all the while, becoming aware that you were slipping under. Sinking and dropping and falling even deeper. With every word I said and with each breath out. And you can just take this time right now to just enjoy it even more. Letting go. Being in the moment. Because you are being hypnotized. And you are hypnotized. Hypnotized so deeply that your hypnotized becomes hypnotized. Becoming so entranced that you just want to bask in this moment, in the here and the now, in hypnosis. Knowing that you can go as deep as is safe, right, and appropriate for you, right here and right now. Knowing that you're looked after and cared for. Able to go as deep as you wish or desire to. Or perhaps even deeper than you even imagine. You can become even more aware of just how good your body feels right now. You can become even more aware of the muscles in your body becoming incredibly loose, limp, and relaxed. So relaxed. Peaceful stillness of hypnosis. Just let go. Unburdening and liberating. That's right. Now, in a few moments, I'm going to count from 1 up to 5. And when I reach 5, you'll be able to come out of trance feeling amazingly calm and suitably relaxed. You'll be freed of any and all suggestions that aren't right, safe, or appropriate. 1. You're beginning to come up out of trance. 2. That feeling of amazing relaxation stays with you. 3. You may want to move your fingers and toes. 4. You can stretch and yawn. And 5. Your eyes begin to open as you come out of this wonderful trance. And as always, I'd like to thank you for listening. And I know you're going to have an amazing week. And I look forward to trancing you again very, very soon.